My name is Joshua Rosebrough. Welcome to another episode of Comic Corner. I'm here with Curtis Wood, an animation professor here at HU. How are you, Curtis?
I'm doing great, Josh. How about you?
All right.
All right.
Let's get rocking and rolling here. So,
Sounds good.
First question. How old were you when you first started reading comics?
Can I give you a little bit of backstory?
Oh, by all means,
All right.
please do.
So, I grew up in a small town, didn't have a comic book shop, and I was introduced to these characters that you see in comic books through what was going on the big screen and TV shows, starting with the '60s Adam West TV show and Tim Burton's movies and Batman the Animated Series, Spider-Man, X-Men, and and the movies to come. And my interest in these characters, I guess, kind of fluctuated depending on what was going on in pop culture. It wasn't until college, I was about 20 years old, that I settled down. And I guess you could say I grew up a little bit, as goofy as that sounds.
Do we ever though, really?
I don't. No, absolutely not.
No.
That's why I love my wife, actually. But I had a rekindled interest in an old favorite character of mine, which was Batman.
Oh, good choice.
Absolutely. And I went out and picked up I actually brought it with me. It's called the Complete Frank Miller Batman collection.
Fancy.
Which, at this point, this book's pretty outdated. He's written more Batman since then. But it collects The Dark Knight Returns, Year One, and this other side story. It's a pretty fun story. But it completely, it rocked my world, really. It introduced me to this medium that is intimidating, to look at from the outside, and just realizing just how deep these characters go, and why people are making movies of these characters. So that's where it all began.
Okay then, what trends have you noticed in the comic medium due to the rise of comics being turned into film? Have comics changed because of the rise of film?
I mean, I would say the quality of writing and artistry has improved, but that's really because of their popularity, which is because of these movies. People are connecting with these characters on screen, and they want to know more about them, and they're going to the source and picking up these books that focus on these characters that they want to get to know.
Oh, fantastic. So, with comic books, comic books is only one medium of entertainment. We have comics, you have movies, you have books, you have... What is it about comics that is so unique, and that something that they have that no other medium has?
I would say character depth. We're talking, like, some of the oldest characters. Now, I am specifically talking about superhero comics. There's plenty of other genres out there, but I mean, we're talking about characters that have been around for almost 80 years, and these are characters that have been passed from one creative team to the next, and infusing different things to their backstory. And at this point, there's so much depth with these characters.
Okay, that's excellent. Well, thank you, Curtis. We're going to be heading to our Man on the Street live right after a word from our sponsors.
Every day, approximately 105 Americans die by suicide, at least one person every 12 seconds. If you are in a crisis, call this number, 800-273-8255. People are available 24/7. All calls are confidential. Don't let a moment of crisis go unnoticed.
If you notice any warning signs, such as personality change, depression, or risky behavior, do not be silent. People are here to help. This message is brought to you by Huntington University.
Hurricane Harvey has hit Houston and left disaster in its wake. In response to these horrific events, Pastor Joel Osteen has released his first album titled, Don't Come Into My Church.
Don't come into my church.
I couldn't if I tried. All these hits can be yours for the low price of $180 billion, but wait, if you order right now, you'll receive a free rain poncho. Call 1-800-LET-ME-IN. That's 1-800-LET-ME-IN.
Hello, I'm the man on the street. We're here outside of this building. We're going to go in there. We're going to ask people questions and stuff. So let's get going. No, actually, no, you. We'll ask you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Who is your favorite superhero?
Captain America.
Captain America. Why is that?
He's really patriotic. He embodies the American spirit. He really cares about people. He protects everyone.
Probably my favorite superhero is Batman, by far.
Okay. All right. Why is that?
Batman is my favorite because he's not just like this super god who's been blessed with powers. He's like a real person who has to build a lot of his own machines and weapons, and he has kind of this double life of like a regular millionaire on the side and a superhero at the same time. And he deals a lot with like justice, and I feel like he has more of like a human aspect to him, and how much he struggles with what's right and wrong, where some superheroes it's just like, oh, there's a crime, I'll go in and just blast my way through it. No, the day's saved, and they don't really think about the consequences of their actions, and that's why I really like the Dark Knight series, because it deals a lot with more of the ethics and morality of what it's like to be a superhero, so I think that's why I gravitate towards Batman.
Okay. All right. Marvel or DC?
Oh, Marvel, hands down.
Marvel has been more enjoyable. Have you found that there's any kind of overlap between Christian theology or Christological elements that kind of collide with superheroes?
Well, I think kind of similar to horror movies. Superhero movies are the next easiest genre to show the distinction between good and evil, which I think is why a lot of Christian filmmakers, like Scott Derrickson, they make films that focus on superheroes because there's not as much moral ambiguity or gray areas. So in that way, I think, yeah, it's very clear that we can see there is like a higher morality to life, and that there's some people who are on the right side of that morality and some people who are not. And so I definitely see kind of the righteousness aspect of superheroes. They're trying their best to do what is right and good for the sake of loving neighbor, and they're not selfish about it. They're doing it for other people, which I think is a really good way of modeling Christ-like behavior.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Marvel versus DC, superheroes, superpowers, and Christ, and whether or not he fits into the mix of all of this craziness. With that, I turn you back to the studio. And we're back. Thank you, man on the street. All right, Curtis. Now we've.
You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Now that we've gotten some answers,
Okay.
you know, like some of this from the students here at HU, we want to turn to you.
All right.
So, question numero uno: are there any Christ-like characteristics that heroes you admire portray?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I would say that, like at the root of who they are is extremely Christ-like. Not necessarily the specific heroes, but all of them kind of are required to have a level of compassion for their fellow man, which, you know, of course harkers back to Jesus's you know, these teachings of loving your neighbor as yourself. That's a requirement. Without that, it doesn't really make sense for somebody to go out in the street and bring, you know, the corrupted to justice if it wasn't to ensure the safety of innocent lives, or for somebody to run into a burning building to save innocent lives. There's a significant amount of compassion that's required.
All right, fantastic. Well, unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today.
Alrighty.
All right, thank you very much for being in studio with us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you so much for tuning in to Comic Corner. And we've just had an absolute blast, haven't we? I really want to see this book. This is fantastic. I mean, I love
it's
the
kind of
binding.
like a Batman Bible.
Oh wow, that is some good artistry. I don't care who you are. Wow.
It's Klaus Jensen.